All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on. You know what time it is? It's the Chaos Syndicate Showdown. It is the grand finals, the last day of the action. The best teams are about to show why they are the best teams. Right now, Boris Gaming showing exactly why they are the best team. FCF Old School have an idea of how they want to stop the rest of the opposition there. They might decide to lock this down. There's still a little bit more to do. We've seen the teams manage their own expectations so far, but it has been very possible for them. Now it is all a matter of can they do the same all the way around. We are going to see if FTF Old School are going to have to do something about these positions that they've got for themselves here. It has been very rallied. As you can see the drop in the ocean there, but it has been quite provocative for Chaos Syndicate as they lose again 3 of their teammates, 3 of their players. It's not something you would want to start the day off with, not even in the slightest. That is where they have found themselves for the duration of this game. And they will probably have an idea on how they want to keep this one down. Ritzy Esports already cracking down on Big Baby. They drop a 3 in their wake, and it's going to be the last one. Overlaid is going to pop into the little bit of a corner there. He's facing to the first shot. It tries to wrap into the other. Does get the first drop. Tries to go for the second again. Pops into the corner. And he does get the angles, but unfortunately he will be overwhelmed. And that will be the end of the journey there for Big Baby. And Ritzy are up 6 eliminations now. Before W get eliminated earlier on, it looks like Chaos Syndicate also will be following suit. They will be dropped off. They will not advance any further. And that's going to be a prerequisite to their expectations. But there's more where that came from. Mazor also going to be the next one swept away there. I believe 1 for all. Or was that 1 tap Romania? 721 holding out the bridge. And that is a copious amount of effort to keep the teams away, especially in this bridge side position. They have stayed very evolved and very solid in their assault. It has been complicated as well. Nothing gained and nothing lost in translation there. Has stayed less problematic than they would think, but even at that, there's still a lot of crowns to look out for as Ritzy slowly but surely climbing up. They're not too far away from Boris Gaming right now. Just a couple of more eliminations and the game could turn very, very differently. And this is something that we are going to keep our eyes on for the most part. Again, most of the teams now have set themselves in fruition. Incredible Esports. Unfortunately for them, it has been a very, very rough day two. It was a very rough day two, but hopefully they bounce back, get a little bit closer to that top draw in the final day of this final. Pressure is on though. And looks like Magma Esports are going to be on the receiving end of it. Because last call, we'll have something to say about that one. Looks as Guessy drop on one of the MVPs. It is going to be Kremski again. He's caught out. And FTF School have to reposition themselves and get out of the danger zone. They've gotten dropped away. Luxus still getting swept aside for the second time in that succession. While all that is going on, there's still a lot of ground to cover though. Nonetheless, will be a quick shake into the drop zones there. T goes down as well. Lox has followed suit, and it looks like that is going to be the end of the road for Magma Esports. And they dropped out. Unfortunately for them, I think they still managed to hold on into that 10th position, unless 721 Old School or Sovereign find those egregious points to turn the game around. Slot. Could be more. Could be less. But they have held it down for the most part. It's all a matter of who wants it more. Now there is a little bit of a burnout or a breakout from what we have experienced so far. Not untoward. It's very possible for them to lose the focus that they've got so far. 721, they are trying to hold this in though. Incredible Esports about to take them to the slaughter. Aggressor peeks over to the right hand side and he goes down, but 721, they will stand tall and they will manage to hold out for the foreseeable future. But again, I believe the guys from 1 are in the vicinity as well, but the numbers are favorable on the other side as Spidey has been dropped off and doesn't look like he will be getting picked up. He's too far away from the rest of his team there, and it looks like Koji is actually going to take the onslaught onto his position, and a beautiful trade-off. A couple of knocks there by Yonic, and that will give them a little bit more time to reposition and get ready there. Stop the reset. That was a bad call, and again he stopped the reset again. Gets into his vehicle and gets out of dodge. I believe that will allow them to reposition and get themselves into the drop zone. And 721, not backing down from this one. They want a little bit more. They do want a little bit more. They are going to be taking a little bit more as well. A little bit of a bias. But Ravnik again gets a second shot from Moneymakers. He takes a little bit more damage as well as he takes a hit. And Vic also trying to pop through. Grenade is good. If he's launched it perfectly, it might be a game changer. That's a fantastic one. But unfortunately, it doesn't do the job. But the Molotov surely will. And cause a little bit of a burn sensation there. Packed into the left-hand side. Vic again. Oh, that's a fantastic grenade from Rennick. And that is how you get the job done. Moneymakers make some money as they push another team back into the lobby. One tap Romania. Still keeping it a buck here, still keeping it strong. They do have a couple of eliminations under their belt, but they need a whole lot more. They are trying to challenge for that final position. That is where it gets very dicey. That is a testament. Major testament to the expectations that some of these teams are going to have. Well, Boris Gaming, #1 on the call sheet, haven't giving too much out. They're having quite effective. But they have had a pretty interesting style of play so far. All they have to do is stick to it. It might be as effective as they would like. That is where it starts to get very provocative for some of those teams who are yet to figure out the narrative that they are trying to push. Again, they try to hold majority of the zone here, but it doesn't work the way they would have liked. And that is where things start to get a little spicier for some of these teams. But we are seeing how possible it can get, how proactive these teams can be. The shots are ringing out. Spidey, it's not going to be so lucky this time around. 721 will lose out, and it's all left to Yannick. He's going to be the last one keeping the flag up. And the Moneymakers are going to hold the bridge a little bit closer there, but Yannick manages to escape. But that could have been very, very dastardly. Very, very nasty for him. If it didn't work out the way he thought, if he did manage to escape, Havlik and the rest of the Moneymakers just holding on to that western side. Trying to force the bridge issue. It doesn't look like it is taken, but it looks like Moneymakers will be pulling up. They know that 721 have a solo player here, and here they come trying to lock this one in into the corner. They find him, and they wrap it up. It is Varnick that sees that one through. And now Sovereign following suit. We're down to our last 9, 34 players all alive. And Sovereign could be in a world of trouble here, trying to break into the position being held by Ritzy Esports. Grenade over the top side there from Munib, and that one does connect. Wheezy goes down, and he burns Nomi away, blows him all out the water. And Sovereign now have to find a space around the corners as well to keep the positions very, very tight and very, very playable. Eilish trying to play in from that western side, can't seem to find the spaces just yet. But if that grenade lands perfectly, that could be the opening they're looking for, and it does land. It does connect. Bablu in a lot of trouble right now. Another grenade for good measure, surely. Eilish is going to launch that one to wrap this one up, but unfortunately, it is just a couple of inches wide, and more grenades and more utilities flying all the way through, and again, that will give Eilish the opportunity that he needs to get out of dodge. That could have been a very close... Very, very close special. Very close position as well. Where things start to get a little bit awry. Because you can see the pressure, the ideas all rambling away in their heads. They're all thinking about it though, Ritzy Esports, because they are up to 15 eliminations. This might be the best one that they could get out of this. A chicken dinner with this performance surely puts them into the #1 spot. But lest we forget, Boars Gaming are still very much alive here. And they do have the front line. All they have to do is stop Ritzy Esports from accruing the final point, the final blow, the final chicken dinner. That would be the only prerequisite. That would be the only choice. That is a protective shift from what we've seen so far from majority of the teams. It has been lockstep every time. It is more for Boris Gaming as they have secured their first, courtesy of Crispy. They will need a whole lot more than one elimination to turn this around. You can look at how close the points are. Moneymakers, 8 eliminations, not too far away. 78 on the board. 83 for Boars. 1 Tapromania with 82. There's 16 for Ritzy. They add another one to the belt. But the only difference here is the numbers. Ritzy has 3 eliminations. All of that fighting will tend to cost you something. And with every waking moment, Ritzy slipped farther away from that chicken dinner because the fights to draw them into uncomfortable areas that rotations are going to be difficult to make out of, as opposed to the likes of Boars and Moneymakers who have secured themselves into a much more tandem position, especially within a number of eliminations that they've already accrued. Moneymakers. So this is theirs to do. This is their job to finish. So all theirs now to see all the way around. The lapse in the way things have been moving so far. But that is the drop. That is the idea. It is all on the plus side, as we've all been able to see. Now there is a little bit more to that one. And Moneymakers are the ones that might be feeling that one as well. As Vic is getting caught out. Default has a sightline on Faith, though. And there is a chance that Vic will be getting picked up. Position is not untoward. It's not too far out. Also going to be taking hits. Bala Blue pop into the corner, and that's a nice shot to wrap it through, and the angles there from Rares also going to have to press forward. And now he spins around the corner. Bala Blue goes down, and I talked about this. Ritzy Esports have been in a very nasty position, but lest we forget, Rosa Vela are in the conversation as well. They want a piece of the action. They want to wrap this up. More hits to follow through, and Rosa Vela will be pulling up. It is Tough Love who breaks the deadlock. 17 eliminations for Ritzy Esports, but that is going to only be 17 points, as they did get knocked away just before the placement points started to ring up. And now things are going to be very, very dynamic for them if they can manage to get a job through into the corner. First shot, second shot, third shot, doesn't wrap through. McQueen goes down as well, and One for All have to press forward. It is all left to Shum. He's too far away to cause any sort of chaos. Rosavella, we've seen them do this time and time again. They are only concerned with the chicken dinner, and they're the only team I believe that would have the most chicken dinners. If they do manage to win this game, it is surely going to be a testament to their ability to finish very strongly. As Zoom goes down for Rosavella, the play zone not too favorable for him. He does get swept away there as he succumbs to his injuries. Boris Gaming, on the other hand, they have advanced themselves as well, and they have found a space to play out of. It has been a very slow and steady rotation, but they have found some space to work something out. Tosca making a dash for it over to the eastern side. He's potentially going to run into the guys from Red Team Nigma, who have been locked inside. Haven't necessarily made a move just yet. But that is the pensions that they have found. And they have kept it as well. Provocative here for Boris Gaming. I believe they are the only team here with the lowest amount of eliminations, one so far. You can tell they are going to be chasing after that chicken dinner, and they're going to be chasing it hard. Look very problematic for the team so far. It has been a very difficult ordeal, especially managing their expectations here. We've seen them try again. Wagner Zada gets called out as well. Boris Gaming in a whole world of trouble right now. And Red Team Enigma have caused a lot of problems for them. Sky is the one that's leading the charge now. Wagner Zada still knocked away. If they can hold this down, they might be able to see something through. Continuous sprays there from Red Team Enigma. And they get dropped away again. Tikazo is going to be the next one to follow suit. Trade off again. Tries to peek into the corner. Does get the drop in behind that vehicle, providing a lot of cover, a lot of protection. If they can find the spaces, they might make something happen. But Sky's grenade is equal to the task. And that will be the end of the road for Wagner Zada. And he tries to hold in. Scott also adds more pressure. Another body getting dropped again. Scott just has to duck it behind the vehicle there. And again, the pressure continues as Sky is trying to hold the entirety of Boris Gaming all by his lonesome. And he has done a decent job so far. And now the utilities, they fly through. The stims over to that top side again. They try to get the angles inside of the smoke. They are trying to fight on multiple fronts there, but the viciousness of the bullets will reign supreme. Crispy had no idea that Sky had him dialed in. He's going to get him knocked away, but Scott is going to get swept off as well to follow suit. And it is going to be the end of the road there for Boris Gaming. They will be sweeping out potentially last player in the mix, and the job is done. Snowix tries to hold it off, but unfortunately, it will not be possible. It will be a job well done for the money makers. Money makers. That is a finish and a half. 18 eliminations and a chicken dinner to boot. And interesting enough, another team here had 17. But Havlik, Default, Varnik, and Vic putting in a shift. 7 for Varnik. Dealing so much damage. Default as well. Has been a professional performance from them. Not been the easiest performance to have, but they have had it. Large 7 eliminations. And Moon, Munib with 952. 2 green eliminations for Lonely. And Havlik doing 389 meters. I think that's the longest distance we've had in the entirety of this Chaos Syndicate showdown. And then 95 traveled 15,000 kilometers. That's what you call a traveling man. Eighteen to 17. I mean, these are the two teams I did talk about as well. 2,700 to 2,400 though. The difference between both players, or rather both teams, 13 to 15. Pretty balanced out if you ask me. But Moneymakers did get the chicken dinner and they did etch this out. I think Ricci's performance still puts them in a very strong hold for that finish for the drop as well. We did have 65 total eliminations, 67 knocks as well. and 13,000 in total damage dealt, with 9,500 in total heals. That is the top we've had for Erangel across all of the match days, if I'm not mistaken. "28 points, and Ritzy finish with 18. Rosavella with 10. Quite consistent nonetheless. Boris Gaming, 8 on the board for them. One Tap, 8 on the board for them as well. Red Tim with 7. One for all with 4. 721, 4 as well. Also tied with Last Call. Old School with 3. True Story and the rest with 1 apiece. And K4W, no points. Same as Incredible, same as Chaos Syndicate, and same as 1715. And the top fraggers for match number 9, it is Munib that's leading the charge. 7 eliminations, 952 on the board, 741 for Varanik, and 7 eliminations as well. 6 for Wanted, though, from Ritzy Esports. Default also in the conversations with 943, 4 eliminations. Havlik also with 4 eliminations with 493. Basically 500 if you ask me, because I do love to move these numbers forward. Let's take a look at the overall standings. And what do they tell us? 62 points for Red Team Enigma, and Magma Esports have fallen short by 10 more points. And now they're much closer to 721, just roughly 9 points away from dropping out of the top 10. Old School with 40, 29 apiece on the other side. And then 1715 have not moved the muscle. So have Incredible Esports, Chaos Syndicate, and AXP. And then we have on the top half, that Boris Gaming top draw. Unfortunately, I don't think it puts them above. It is money makers who make their way to the front of the pack with 98 on the board, 91 for Boris. They haven't shifted outside of the top 2, outside of the top 1, and One Tap Romania maintained their position in 3rd place. Ritzy Esports, that performance puts them into the top 4. K4W slip out and finish still staying in the top 5. Last Call also in the top 6, and again it has been very consistent in the MVP race, with Default now leading the charge. Groza is still chasing down 26 to 20 eliminations, 19 for 2-pack from Ritzy Esports. Wanted from Ritzy Esports has also entered the conversations, and K4W still has M95. But the action continues, ladies and gentlemen. 3 more games to go. Who will be crowned champion? We'll check right back after the highlights. Gentlemen, we are back. Chaos Syndicate action, as you would expect. It does not stop there. We just had our first match of the finals, the last day. And now we're about to get into our second. It is Miramar. And the plane cuts through from north to south. And someone is still in the air. Oh, I'm sure Wagnazada wanted to send those shots all the way through to the top there. And that would have been something nasty hitting them. Oh, that would have been a very uncomfortable conversation. But it is still very intricate the way the game has progressed so far. That is where things start to gravitate towards. A bit of a mission, but it has been very effective so far for them. They do manage to do something about it. That could be the opening that they have found. Could be a lost sequence for one Tap Romania. Too unassuming. Around, looking for that opening, that gap in the space to exploit. 17-15. They've still got Finney not too far out. Ooh, Babago has been spotted though, so Bogby has to think a little bit more equivocal before he takes that position. Tries to break it down the way he has so far. Just want to go down. Bogdy has traded off quite nicely. One tap also taking off into the corner, tries to wrap into the shot, but unfortunately he goes down. And his teammate is right there for the drop on to follow through. Carrigan now streams to spin around the corner, but no chance. One tap Romania will come out on top, but that was dangerously close though. That was dangerously close. I have to stay on task here, as they have tried their absolute best to relieve and take care of the pressure. They are potentially aware for all that is involved in wrapping this one around. But Ritzy Esports, they will take that performance they had in the previous game, and I'm sure they would want to apply something more onto the stage and onto the positions that they've got so far. Plethora of shots flying through there. Try again has been caught. They will be forced to try again. Goes on from Moneymakers though. Currently sitting on top of the leaderboard. And the fault is looking to press forward. As Kai is already taking some hits. His position has already been compromised there. And then immediately gets knocked away by Havlik. That's crushed up by default. And Moneymakers are cruising through. On my position, true story. Not found their rhythm just yet. They will lose 3 to Moneymakers. So we'll have to Pim. Be a victim as well. Incredible esports getting packed up yet again. Go out in 16th place. Another major fail on their part. They've had a very rough start to this competition. The past 2 days has been so difficult for them to manage. They have been consistently overwhelmed time and time again by various teams, I might add. That has never phased them, especially Boys Gaming. Has never phased them, not even in the slightest. And now things are about to go from potentially bad to worse because Ritzy Esports have pulled it up into the mix. It's Win that opens the scoring there. Onto 1 from Boars. But Boars have secured 2 eliminations though. Ritzy, the game is getting stretched out away from their position. They keep getting added out and drawn out of the position that they have put themselves in. It has been very, very rough nonetheless. But it could be proactive. It could be a case of mistaken identity for Boys Gaming. But it has been a very, very good start. Ritzy Esports off to a very good start as well. Interesting enough, it is the top 4 teams, or the top 6 teams who have secured most of the eliminations outside of K4W. But K4W have shown their prowess in Miramar though, so it's not untoward. That has been on the front lines Well, that would be an interesting dynamic. They have tried to play on the bridge, though. So it really is all about seeing this through. That is where pressure continues to mount. Magma Esports, we saw them capitulate in the previous game. And they've had quite a stellar tournament so far. It hasn't really chopped and screwed them all the way through. It has kept them under siege. And now majority of the teams just centering around that area of Chumasera, south of Monte Nuovo, north of the Chumasera district. Ladriela also in the conversation. Picado's also potentially a place to play out of, but most of the teams are much more central. There's a chance that they will run into each other as the games progress. It is going to be a very, very tough turnout because Wagner Zada has been knocked away. It's not the best example for him to set right now because Boards Gaming cannot afford to start losing players this early in the game. It's just phase 2. We've still got about 51 players alive. Losing players at this stage is not good for morale. It is not good for morale at all. Not even in the slightest. It has been a payout, but that still puts them at a disadvantage. The sprays again continue onto the sequence. Boars Gaming have been eliminated though, and that gap they have left in the top 2 position can be theirs to take. And Rares has been knocked, potentially almost knocked away though, but I think he does manage to get out of dodge just in time. And now Magma Esports setting their sights on Scott. Red Team Enigma in a world of trouble. And they are going to be taking the initiative there to reduce the distance between themselves and the guys from Red Team Enigma. Again, they add a little bit more pressure through, shotting through all of the doors there. Magma not backing down. And this would be a very, very good time for them to get significant points, because that will put them in the conversations as well. Good grenade bounced off the walls there. The angles, not the sharpest, but you can see the ideas. The more utilities and the more grenades getting charged up and barging right through the doors and through the windows, any crevice, any open space. And now Magma trying to circle it through. Red Team are getting absolutely obliterated here. Molotovs and grenades all going in sequences, one after the other. Tries to take another hit and another hit and another corner into that little space. Now Tikazo, I think he might decide to hop out the window, and it doesn't work, but his Molotov does the job. And that will be one to wrap through. Magma Esports now have lost 2. 20 still knocked away. And now T's going to get caught as well. Red Team Enigma somehow have turned the page. They flipped the script. Another one bites the dust. Apex immediately goes for the drop shot, dodges the angles there. And Tikazo's trying to get his teammate picked up. But Magma cannot allow the reset to come through, and immediately Apex is spotted out. Tikazo now has to play off the right hand side. First shot into the corner, and he drops through. Sky, no chance for him. He's going to be pressed forward. Is 1 HP against 1 HP. Whose nerves are going to stay still? Whose nerves are going to be the calmest? But he's going to add a little bit more. Bounces the grenade into the corner, and that will be a hit. And it is going to be Rosavella that pull up into the mix and try to steal that one away. They add to the woes of Magma Esports. And now a chance for Tikazo to turn this around. And he might decide to play this one a little bit closer to the vest. Oh, that could have been something special. But he has gotten the intel. He's seen them. And he bounces that one perfectly. And he does the job. He saw them perfectly. And he bounced it right in the right angle. Tikazo goes down. And that will be the end of the road for Red Team Enigma. Magma Esports will live to fight another day, but that was a close call. That was a very close call. That was a very close one. Very, very interesting game. It's what we've seen so far. Because nobody's backing down. No one is giving their resolve out. That's the pressurized position that they have found themselves in. No, we have not stopped to think too much. All about executions. I've been all about the party that they have created so far. It's never been about any cause for concern for them, but they have kept it a buck so far, not necessarily giving too much away. And that is the resolve and the action from Moneymakers. They have done a lot of work in the heavy lifting here, but all they have to do now is see this game through. 4 eliminations, and they have crossed into the hundreds. There's one tap Romania, Ritzy, and K4W that are on the chase right now, but they have a long way to go. One tap Romania, not necessarily the longest, but they will still have to travel. It's all about finding how much traveling they can do as the pressure continues to pull them in separate directions. Again, it has caused them to think twice about whatever it is they want to accomplish, especially in this Chaos Syndicate Showdown finals where McGregor is finally discovered. And that is going to be a wrap for Magma. But they do bow out with 6 eliminations. A good spell, but not enough to put them into that top 9 position, seeing as Red Team Enigma still up in the mid-60s. Rosavella also taking hits. They've been caught out. Do you manage to lose another in the sequence there? Looks like it is going to be Ravnik. That's the dice on them. Moneymakers not backing down. Tosca goes down as well, courtesy of default. And the Moneymakers continue to crash the party for all of these teams that are trying to make their way through. Peter now sends his sights onto the guys from K4W. Kimbo, the victim of that exchange, he's going to get knocked away. Peter, trade-off is good on his angle as well. Sad adds more pressure. Chaos Syndicate trying their absolute best not to finish in last place. All they have to do is keep the pressure on, and that is a wrap. Nova goes down. Chris gets tossed to the side. And teammates, grenading teammates, that is not what you want to see. It is absolutely not. Chaos Syndicate now getting absolutely railroaded by K4W. Kill for win. We've seen them finish games like this in clear and utter fashion. Chris is trying to hop through. He will be spotted out. And that is going to be the end of the road for Chaos Syndicate. K4W will put them to pasture and secure 4 eliminations in the process. Let's see. The receiving end. Be a narrative as to how they have lost the plot so far, but it looks like it's still there for the taking. They've tried again. Rosavella not backing down. They're not stopping. Tough Love continues to apply pressure. Havlik is spotted and dropped off as well. Moneymakers in a world of hurt. And all they've got to show for us is only 6 eliminations. Phase 5 of the circle is upon us. chaotic idea that has been established, as we've seen so far. Play zone is closing out slower and slower. Old school in that western side. Mazor trying to make a rotation around them. And they might be running to the last call. And Butcher is going to be the one exposed there for last call, as he's going to get knocked away to accommodate more teams to play out of that position. Varanik continues to cause problems for Mazor. They lose yet another 7 eliminations now for the Moneymakers. They've still got a man, still causing problems inside of that final third. They've done this before, they will do it again. Give them a little bit of an inch, they will take a mile. Mazor have not been able to crack that code just yet, as they consistently sit in 13th place. Asha will also be spotted out, as Mazor have been eliminated. A4W on the front lines here. They do have the zone. They do have a lot of opposition teams in the area as well. But it's all left to them now. How much more can they do? Oh! And they learned the process the hard way. But the MK14 from Kimbo could cause something special here. But a grenade is launched by the last player from last call. And Kimbo gets his hit. And Old School finally finding their voice, finally finding their rhythm. And they will capitalize on the errors being made, on all the transgressions being spotted here. And that was the opening that they were looking for. That was the position they were trying to set themselves in. And that is a bit of a break in transmission there. But either way, they have set themselves up quite nicely. Again, they have been provocative. And they have kept it on and on and on again. But how far can they cover this, though? Let's see, Esports, they've played this game slow and steady. And what they're trying to do here is secure that chicken dinner. But One Tap Romania is still in the conversation as well, trying to gatekeep them, trying to block them out from advancing. Grenade is launched again. Carragon has to be very careful. That one was a little bit closer than he would have liked. Munib, one of the MVPs from the previous game, he's not going to back down. That's a fantastic grenade to follow suit. Tupac going to be discovered and knocked away as well. Carragon finally goes down. Shum trades one off as well for Ritzy Esports. In the world of trouble, Munib continues to hold down into that corner. Tupac launches another grenade. More grenades, this time from Win. If he can keep it through, he might be able to keep the guy from One Tap from advancing their position. Gets the first drop, gets the first launch into the corner, and that is a job well done. Ritzy Esports. Now, this is a chance for them to flip the script again. A chicken dinner from them after a 17-pointer is going to be a major shift in that game. Old School now trying to advance from the top side, and they are trying to get a little bit of space to navigate from, but Win is immediately going to advance his position and try to block that space. Lavia Game on the other side as well. But Bonnet is also trying to do the exact same thing. They're all trying to get into that space created in front, but it is a 3 versus 2. Ritzy have all of the numbers, all of the high ground, all of the space. Munib is just lurking in the right-hand side. I'm not sure Ban knows that there's ops on his right-hand side. He's not aware, and he does get dropped away. Now 3 versus 1. One time, Showtime drop into the corner, and that is a job well done. Ritzy Esports will take the chicken dinner. on the rise. Seven eliminations. Another 17-pointer. Pretty balanced game, but Wanted was doing more of the tearing through for Ritzy. And this has been a major, major draft for their position. 6-4, Bogdi. And Wanted, like I said, he was doing a major of that heavy lifting, 735. 2 green eliminations for Lonely again for last call. And Default and Shoom covering the meters. 12,000 for Shoom. They tried to have stayed on the front foot. Not as many eliminations as they had in the previous game, but this is a very good start. Back-to-back solid performances, 8 eliminations for One Tap Romania, still maintaining that distance, still maintaining that touching distance inside of the top 3. It has still been that conversation between them, especially from day one. So we are going to keep our eyes peeled to see if they will maintain that energy, maintain that structure going into the last 2 games. 62 total eliminations, though, dropping across the board. 13k in damage points dealt, and 85, or call it 8,600 in heals. Not as much as we had in the previous game. Still within. Points secured by Ritzy. Double digits, solid in a back-to-back game. And now One Tap Romania 13, 11 apiece for Old School and Last Call. K4W with 8 as well. And Moneymakers also with 8, not allowing the game slip away from them, not even in the slightest. AXP, Incredibles, True Story, and Chaos Syndicate, no points on the board for them. Bogdi with 6 on the board for himself. 4 for McGregor, 4 as well for Tommy, 3 for Wanted, and 3 for Varanik. And then we have it again. 64 for Red Team Nigma, still on the front foot as well. 17-15, nothing there. Incredible Esports, Chaos Syndicate, AXP. No XP on their part. Maintain the drops, they maintain the front foot with 106 points, 101 for Ritzy Esports, One Tap Romania with 99, 93 for Boris Gaming, 87 for K4W. And that is how it continues to advance. 28 now for Default for Moneymakers, 22 for Wanted, 21 for Tupac, and 20 for Groza, 20 as well for Tough Love. And the action continues, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more games, so stay tuned after the highlights. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Back like we never left. You're watching the KO Syndicate Showdown, the Grand Finals, match number 3, and we are in Rondo, the best place to be. Gotta take a look at that plane path all the way from the south to the northern side. Yeah, I was trying to keep it a buck. I'm trying to make it as called. You know, seeing the front foot has been a very provocative shift. We have seen something special either way. And Boris Gaming Siege from Magma Esports looks as securing 2 and putting them in his pocket earlier on. And Rosavella doesn't look like it's going to be a good start for them either way. Magma Esports have had a very, very good start, have a very comfortable start as well. Bodies have been dropped off. A little bit of a culture shock. And the trade-off has followed through though. Even last call, setting their sights. There's so much chaos brewing inside of this Rondo map, you would be surprised. That's how the teams are having to deal with so many different expectations. Magma having to press forward again and get the angles into that corner. 20 spins around the corner as well. Tries to get a couple shots through. McGregor's going to have to do something about it again. We'll be getting chased down, and that will be a job well done, wrapping it up. And now he's going to be incredible, eliminated again. Second team back in the lobby. That is going to be turn here for Wheezy. Sovereign. Trying to a little bit of something here, but it has shown us how provocative these teams can be, because you can see Sovereign also getting caught out as well. They lose out another one. And that's a little bit of a timeout. Taking a little bit of a timeout. Exynos tries to swap through and get a couple shots away. Turns outside and will be turned inside out. And K4W started to find their rhythm. Trying to make sure they get dropped out at this early stage of the game. Moneymakers also applying some more pressure as they have secured 6 eliminations now. And they are looking to run away with the game in match number 3. Rondo could be a huge decider on who wins what and how they win the game. Boris Gaming lose yet another. You'd be surprised that Boris Gaming started today in the #1 spot, but right now they are in 4th place. And that is to tell you how powerful the prerequisite has been. We're looking for a way around, though. They've been quite prolific in having to deal with so many different angles. McGregor, unfortunately for him, there's no space. He can't seem to find anything. Be a rough draft, a rough, chaotic position for them to manage so far. They might try to hold something here, but even at that, could still be a cause for concern, because 20 has been knocked aside. 9 eliminations here for Moneymakers. And they have allowed us to coming through from Luxus as he does a sweep default back into the lobby. Now here comes Varanik. He's gonna have to press forward as well. And now here comes Luxus trying to take Varanik in a 1v1. Different choice of the weapons. There's the S12K. Tries to pop into the left-hand side. And again, he takes some more damage. Spins into the corner. Forcing him out again in the 1v1. Luxus shows exactly why he is superior. And he drops another player from Moneymakers. And at this rate, they might not end up making any money. They might end up broke. Because Luxus is going to be under siege here. We've seen them do this time and time again. It has been very productive, very predominantly how they've wanted to manage the game. The game, not even in the slightest. #21, as they have gotten pushed aside yet again. It has been a very nasty drift for them over to the eastern side, though. Zhao Tian has been excluded from the next phase of play inside of the zone. But Could be going to around there. They have secured 5 eliminations so far, so not too thing on toward again. As Wagner Zada has been caught out for Boars Gaming. Boars Gaming eliminated as well. They did only come in as a trio. So it's really going to boil down to the last game to see if there is something that can be done for the likes of Boars Gaming and K4W. They're only going to get one shot, one chance. To make a dash for it across the zone there. Did get exposed. Did get warned out. And a little bit more cause for concern if they can't seem to find any rhythm inside of the game so far. And this is the understanding that the teams have been forced to have going into the argumentative stage of this game, the last couple of seconds. It is going to be very, very proactive, very dramatic. People are thinking about this though. If they do manage to wrap around, they might decide that they do want to get a much more calm finish as far as this game is concerned. And you can't be too mad about that one because Rentium Nigma are going to have to deal with this one as well. Scott trying to get Sky picked back up. One of the better players inside of that team. Positions that they found for themselves there, they lose out another, and Scott follows suit. Tikazo will be the last one left. He applies some of that pressure, but unfortunately 17-15 will finally step up to the plate. 9 eliminations, arguably the best game they have had since the beginning of this event. It has been a very, very rough start for them, but hopefully they will find some solace in this performance. But Ritzy Esports are still very much in the mix there. Bar Blue goes down as well. McGregor from Magma still holding it tight and still holding it down. They've got 10 eliminations as well. And there is still a ways to cover here. Win has been spotted though. They've taken a lot of damage, but they will retreat, get into the smoke and reposition as well. Very good strategy for them, as they will get out of dodge. McGregor also wraps around the top side to force them into the open space and create some sort of sandwich against the guys from K4W. It's a good plan. They will require a whole lot more bodies than McGregor, though. Ritzy also playing a quick one around the corners there to get themselves into an even better position. And the guys from Old School are also in the vicinity. And they will try it. Pensions for patience. And there has been a drive and more. The Magma, they have enjoyed the positions and peripherals. What has stayed onto the mix for them as well. They've kept it 100. In advancing. Teams at the bottom of the leaderboard have found a little bit more rhythm here, as you've seen 17-15 and Old School, both within similar point averages, starting to find their voice. And the rest of the lobby is starting to hear it. McGregor has been on tear so far. And there's going to be 60 seconds onto that play zone starts to shift again. And it is about to cause a lot of commotion to some teams who haven't decided to move inside just yet. 5 eliminations there for One Tap Romania as they bow out of the game. Ritzy Esports are not going to bow out either, not just yet. They will continue to mount that pressure on Moneymakers even going into the final game, unless Moneymakers somehow eliminate them and reduce the point deficits at the exact same time. And now there will be coefficients. The numbers, the eliminations, they start to ring out. In close succession as well has been tolerated. No one wants to be on the losing end. You can see opposition teams are going to be losing out. And will be another one for Magma to bite the dust. McGregor. And you can see the guys from the last call. They're holding this tight. They're holding this around. They have stayed up for the task. They have been very, very provocative and very consistent in their endeavors. It has worked a treat for them. It has worked miracles for them. How much time can they cover? How much of the job can they do? Play zones closing out. Slowly but surely. There's not a lot of bodies left. And Magma Esports are not going to back down, not even in the slightest. Oh, that's a beautiful drive-by from 20. And he feels that one through, but unfortunately doesn't get the final drop on that position. Ritzy Esports immediately have the angle and they capitalize on it from outside the zone. And that was a dangerous play, but it worked out in the end. Last call, pulling up, win up top in the corner for Ritzy. Pops into the left-hand side, but unfortunately, it is Mazor that somehow thread the needle and get the job done. But 15 eliminations for Moneymakers. Surely now they will be crowned champions. Surely now the job is done. They wrap this up. If they do get a back-to-back chicken dinner, it is going to be an easy swoop for them into the final third, but Old School probably have something to say about this one. The play zone not too favorable for them, as Oban's about to launch a grenade over the top there. Varanik could be the victim if he can find a way to spin around the block. He can't escape the grenade. Another one, another onslaught for Old School, and they drop yet another. Havlik, the next victim, spotted out. Last call, dialing in. Another one will bite the dust. Havlik can't seem to get picked up, and Vic also applies some more of that pressure, but Oban's not going to escape it this time. The grenade is launched over the top and it does connect, but Old School have the numbers, they have the bases, they have the angles to work out with, but unfortunately the only thing they don't have is the play zone, and Last Call about to capitalize on that and squeeze them tighter. And unfortunately for them, they're not aware that the ops are in this vicinity. They're trying to make sure that Old School do not advance, tries to play off the right hand side and force them to make those mistakes. And again, the angles there for Moneymakers, they will will want to close the gap, but unfortunately, Last Call have occupied the entirety of the map, and they've squeezed Old School into a very compromising position. Norm spotted out. He goes down as well. Tommy pulls up. Here comes Hamza. Pops over to the left-hand side. Immediately tries to talk through, and he does take the hit. And Last Call will give them their last call. And the chicken dinner for the last call. Job is done. They won. And that is a draft into looking how they've looked into the game. It has been very, very proactive, very provocative as well. They have been very, very solid. 13 eliminations for Last Call. And this is a team that had a lot of potential. They had a whole lot of potential. And that is the end goal, as we all well know. That is the trade-off. 13 eliminations. But Lonely J, he was the one doing all that needed to be done. Varnik was on the front foot. He did not stop for anyone. 8 eliminations, also doing so much damage. Aggressor, they tossed the grenades around. Tough love, covering the distance. Same with Bablu as well. Has been very, very proactive for these teams. Moneymakers, again, consistent performance. 16 on the board, 2,300 on the board, 1,500 on the board. Major, major numbers for Moneymakers, as opposed to Last Call, who did 2,500 on the board. 15 to 11 as well. Last Call, chickened it up, still puts them in a nice spot. You would expect a whole lot more there, but Rondo will give you the triple digits, 105 eliminations, 20,000 in damage points, almost 10,000 in heals. Did we have? I think we had significantly more in the previous days, previous stages of the tournament, but even at that, it has been very, very proactive, very solid in the draft, in the positions, and what we've seen so far. Though for Last Call, it's a very good start for them, a very good call as well. 21 for Moneymakers, and Old School with 17. 12 apiece for Magman, 17, 15. 9 apiece for Mazor and Ritzy. One for all tied, as was Avella in 8th and 9th. Sovereign, 5 apiece with them with 721, and One Tap Romania. K4W4 tied in 13th and 14th place with True Story. Big Baby and The Incredibles, 1 apiece. And AXP and Chaos Syndicate yet again for the third match in a row. They finish at the bottom of the game. But Varanik is the front man in this match. 8 eliminations. Lonely Shay with 6. 6 as well for Infi. And Luxus with 5 as well. Default also with 4. And it's going to be a major, major stomping ground, a major start for them, finishing very strongly, finishing very comfortably in the sequence that they've got so far. And the Default has been on the prerogative position either way, with 31 for Big Baby, 19 for Incredibles, 11 for Chaos Syndicate, and 11 as well for AXP. Stand at ease, 127 points. surely the job is done for them. All they have to do is finish in the top five in the next game, and I think that will be it. But Ritzy Esports, they do still have a card to play here. 17 points is not too far fetched, and that's cool. That chicken dinner puts them into the top three as well. One tap slipped away, and doesn't look like much will be happening there. 32 for default. My word. And he's still getting chased by the guys from Red Sea. 24 for Tupac, 23 for Kramsky. Wanted with 22 and 21 for Tough Love. The action continues in match number 12, the last match of the Chaos Syndicate Showdown. Do not touch that dial. We'll be right back after the highlights.
Time for match number 4 or match number 12 of the Chaos Syndicate Showdown. It is the grand finals, 400 USD, and the action continues either way. And right now, it is all left to moneymakers to finish strongly because they are still getting chased down by the likes of Ritzy Esports. So it could still be anybody's game here. But moneymakers, if I was them, I would land on Ritzy. And even if I don't win the fight, I probably just cripple them and make it difficult for them to win the game. I know that the job is done. That is what I would do. But, to each his own. That's why I'm not the one playing in it. But either way, that is what I would do. That's me taking the game into my hands. And if I eliminate them, then, that's how you know for sure that the job is done, right? That's just how you know for sure. But either way, someone is going to win. And that is a quick crow. Well, last call. Shots sliding through with the dual pistols there. Again, you have to respect the fact that some players are very decent with any weapon. And Lodije, we saw how good he was in the previous game. He's about to keep that one up. Butcher is also trying to trade off there. We are missing 4 teams. I believe it is 1 for all to make it into the game. The front side, the front lines. And a major shift in the transitional process for some of these teams who do not love to necessarily hang around the play zone. We've seen that time and time again. But right now, Boris Gaming and Ritzy could be in a world of trouble. And I said this. I said it. If I was money makers, this is what I would do. This is exactly what I would do if I was money makers. And they have done it. They have won the tournament. And they did it the exact way I would have done it. I would have landed on Ritzy and eliminated them. Even if I did not eliminate them, I would at least cripple them and make winning the game very difficult for them, knowing the fact that they would need a plethora of points to catch up. And that is what we love to see. Incredible big brain stuff, very big brain stuff coming through from the moneymakers, and the fact that they eliminated them without even losing a player. Now they can play with all the ease and comfort in the world. That is how you take the pressure off. What a game this has been. But moneymakers, I believe, have done what they need to do. Old school, on the other hand, trying to deal with Magma here. They've traded one for the other. Magma have 2 players knocked down. They're trying to pack into the corner there, going into the other shot, but McGregor is going to wrap around and close that down immediately. Boris Gaming also on the siege here from Magma. All of these teams in the same area, they have been battling for the most part. And Boris have secured themselves with 4 or 5 eliminations. And Magma having a similar idea to do the exact same thing. A little bit of a trade-off into the corner. Oh, that's a nice shot from McGregor. And he's immediately going to hurt the guys from Boris. Magma now into the corner. McGregor trying to pop it through the corner again. Feigns onto the shot. He's got a shotgun though. Can he make something happen? Tries to ping into the corner. Spraying the trop. And that is a job well done. Wagner Zada equal to the task with a shotgun at his disposal, and he wraps them all the way through. Default is also going to be in trouble right now. 8 eliminations, though. He did get knocked away, but that did not stop the Moneymakers. They claim yet another set of souls. And it's only just phase 1 of the circle. 9 teams alive. And they're wrapping this up quickly. Boris Gaming onto 77 eliminations. It's all about finishing, at least finishing above the guys from last call now. That would be the definition of success for Boris Gaming. They need to finish at least above Ritzy. And they are well on their way because they're currently sitting on 103 points. But same applies to One Tap Romania. They are also sitting at 104 points. And the number of players are also dwindling away, with Moneymakers extending the gap even further. But it has been proactive, and it has also been provocative for some of these teams. They've done little as the barest minimum, but they have secured the majority of the points that they wanted, and they have done it in quick succession as well. It's been a promising draft, a promising load off. It has been very proactive. Credibles, unfortunately for them, there's not been much to do here. Started the first day very strongly as well. Can't really say the same for the rest of the other days, though. Just bit off a little bit more than they could chew. And they felt the pressure underneath. They have crumbled underneath it as well. And even at that, the pressure is not unheard of. I've had the inkling of doing the exact same thing multiple times. They've steered the gears. They have grinded the game so far. At some point, the game was theirs to win. Was absolutely theirs to win. And that was such a surprise to see how they fared. Now the game has allowed them to frolic and lose their position and awareness. Has been a very interesting turn of events here for 721. We'll have to trade one off again onto Boars. Boars are left in a duo situation here. They're taking a lot of damage. Crispy's caught out. He's going to be dropped away. Doesn't look like he will be getting picked up. Default has pulled up into the mix as well. Moneymakers, somehow, they have decided to get in on the action, and they drop yet another player this time. And I think it is one of the guys from 721. And it is Rorino. He goes down. Another one bites the dust. 10 for Moneymakers. Making so much money tonight. 2 eliminations for 721. They're down to their last man, Aggressor. And the Moneymakers are just running rampage. They're chasing down, and they've spotted another one. He has been spotted. Robs, I believe. They've seen him, and they will take him on, and they will wrap him up. Robs goes down. Boars Gaming lose out. So they will not finish inside of the top 3. It is all left to One Tap Romania now. All they have to do is get a couple more points, and they might be able to snatch away that top 3 finish. It's unlikely that last call will be forced out because they have secured a couple of eliminations themselves. So things are not looking very dicey for one tap right now. TS, Incredibles, still very much off for them. And Chaos Syndicate as well. All rampaging the map, looking for where the action is at its peak or at its highest. Just to get a little bit more out of that one. That will be a tidy drop. We've still got 25 players now. Looks like True Story are also going to be taking hits. Courtesy of Incredibles, they're all going to be tapping out for one or the other, but True Story are going to be the ones that tap out the last. And they will be following suit. We're down to 7 teams now. 22 players. All looking for their inklings and openings. In alignment. Rosavella, another team that likes to go under the radar, go a little bit more unnoticed, and at the end of the road they will snatch a chicken dinner here or there. Looks like they will be setting sights on the Incredibles this time around. Struggler trying to pop one into the corner. Baby's spotted immediately. He is going to be swept off his feet, but they're taking so much damage, both of them. One grenade is going to be a game changer. And it does connect. Tosca goes down. Struggler follows up, but he's going to be knocked away. And here come the money makers again, causing commotion, causing chaos, bullying everyone and anyone in their path. And now they know that Rosavella's on the ground side, and they will decide to pull up on them immediately as well. Space in behind. Here they come. It's Vic now. He's yet to secure any eliminations, and you can understand why he will be pressing forward. Sky's trying to pop through. Tosca almost getting spotted out, but he's exposed. And that's another wrap, and that's another drop, and a trade-off almost getting him squeezed out of the lobby there. But Default is right there to pull another one. 14 eliminations, 15 eliminations now for the money makers. And they're not going to back down this time around. They want to wrap this up, and they want to wrap it up easily in clear fashion to tell the rest of the lobby that you've not made enough money. We're here to make all the money, and we're here to drop all the opposition. What a performance they have had. 15 on the double, and they're still cruising on. Last call, Chaos Syndicate, one tap, Rosavella. Who can stop the money makers? Who can quiet them down? It doesn't look like any of them have what it takes so far. They have all been washed away by the sheer brute strength of money makers. And what a ride it has been so far for them. They have turned the opposition inside out, turned them upside down, broken their spirit. They made them believe that there was a chance, but they shut all of that down. And they did it in quick succession. And another one bites the dust. It's Chaos Syndicate now, the only team to draw blood from the money makers right now. Vic also getting parted out. Default immediately sweeps Peter back into the lobby. They add another one and another drop. Fade into the 1v2. But here comes Nova. Can he trade one off? A huge shot there to trade everything. But unfortunately, Nova is overwhelmed over to the left-hand side. Chris as well. And the job is wrapped up. A job is done again. 19 on the board for money makers. They're making it rain bodies and bullets, and about to make it rain 400 USD in the bank right now as they eliminate the hosts again and again and again. 10 players alive, and moneymakers have secured 19 on the board, and it looks like this might be a 20 bomber. But one tap, if there's anything they know how to do, they know how to fish. They know how to draw the teams outside. Varanik and Vic have secured themselves a finish and a drop as well. But this is where it's about to get potentially even nastier. Because this is theirs to do. This is theirs to finish. Age-old position, age-old question being asked here as who wants it more. But moneymakers have done the job, and they didn't just stop. They bulldozed. They drove the opposition away and forced them into the outside. And once I've been making dimensional moves and transactional moves as well, they have tried to stay on site. But the intel is still being gathered. Last call, if they do manage a chicken dinner here, I believe that puts them above the guys from Ritzy Esports, though. So this is going to be a very, very interesting game for last call if they do manage a back-to-back chicken dinner and Havlik is discovered. Default stopped dead in his tracks as well. It is Rosavella that finally puts a stop to the menace that is Mad, the guys from Moneymakers. So, Cortico. And that is a major breach in the game so far. We're down to just 8 players, 3 teams. Last call need this chicken dinner, but they need a whole more number of eliminations if they are trying to make something happen out of this. They need a whole lot more. They need significantly way more. Because all that it takes is an incredible level of consistency to break the deadlock, to break the ice. It is theirs to do. It is their job to close things down. Either way, last call having to get forced to play a little bit closer into the zone there. It has been very problematic for them, but this is where needs must. Rosavella driving deep in the blue, taking a significant jolt of damage as well. That has never stopped the shine. That has never stopped the plans as well. They have stayed on top of things, but one tap. There's another team that needs this chicken dinner, and they need it. But I don't know if they need it more than last call. Say 4 and 3. And one tap are known to finish games very strongly. You can see him leading the guys from last call all the way into this open space. And that is the plan here. Tommy's gonna get rained upon, but they found some space inside of the zone to make something happen out of. They've advanced themselves and put themselves into those northwestern areas and those pockets of space. They could capitalize on this and ride it into the sunset. But a chicken dinner for one tap, it is the only result that matters. Anything outside of a chicken dinner, and their hopes will be dashed. Same applies for last call. A chicken dinner is the only result that will matter for them here. So they have to make sure that it is done. They have to make sure that it is dusted. They have to make sure that they see this all the way through. Because they will stay on to the game. It's all a matter of who wants it more. Not giving away, not giving it out. And they are staying into the of cause and concern either way, but one tap have been forced out of the zone here, surprisingly. Gatka is where it's all happening, but I believe they still got some space. They can work it out. All they have to do is keep the pressure on. They might be able to do it. We're about to witness how possible that can be. The action hits them 1-for-1. It's going to be one against the other. Manned here for one tap. They are going to be riding into the sunset here, but they don't have the numbers advantage over last call. And the last call back-to-back chicken dinner to finish the day is going to be something short of a toilet performance, and Dizzy is going to be the first one to get caught out. He goes down as well, but so does Tommy. The trade-off begins. Butcher, can he slice through the last player for one tap into that corner? He tries to jump into the right-hand side again, tries to take a little bit more damage, and here he comes. The break-up in structure, but Butcher goes down and wraps him all the way through. And Bibino is going to be all left to him now for one tap Romania. He spots Cramsey into the corner as well, and the grenade from Butcher will put him out of his misery. And that is a job well done for last call. The last call is called again. And they will get that chicken dinner. And it is a job well done. It is wrapped up. It is done. It is dusted. How you make something special happen either way. And that is how you do the job.
for last call and a chicken dinner to boot. That is how you start and that is how you finish. Back-to-back chicken dinners for last call. Butcher and Tommy coming in clutch in the final moments. Lonely J as well. 400 on the board. And it's a very, 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 very solid conversation that they have had to wrap this game up. No better way to announce, or rather to close out the game, than to finish with a performance like that. 9 for default. Havlik doing 997. Robs with one grenade elimination. Butcher, 300 meters on the board. And Robs traveled 0 meters. Did not do any traveling at all. I think that's the only time I've seen anything like that in this tournament so far. 23 points on the board for Moneymakers. Last call 18 to the good. And One Tap Romania add 9. Rosavella 9 as well. 8 for Boars Gaming, 7 for Incredible Esports, 4 for Magma, and 3 apiece all the way down to 11th for K4W, 1 apiece for Sovereign and Old School. Retia, Mazor, AXP, nothing on the board for them. Reason 9, 11, 9 eliminations, 830 on the damage board. Vernick follows suit. So does Havlik, so does Robs, and so does Butcher for last call. And these are your top fraggers, but we'll take a look at the overall rankings now. It is going to be One Tap Romania, your second runner up in the Chaos Syndicate Showdown. Wow. 69 eliminations, 44 in the top draw, and 113 total points. And then we head over to the first runner-up, second place, last call. That chicken dinner in the last game puts them just ahead with 125 on the board. What a game they have had. Absolutely incredible way to start the game and finish the tournament. They started on day one very nicely and they finished on the last day equally as nice with 88 eliminations and 37 on the placement boards. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not about them. It is about the next team on the board. It is the money makers, the champions of the Chaos Syndicate Showdown. And what a performance. They have had 120 eliminations with 30 placements, 3 chicken dinners in quick succession. 150 points. Moneymakers will take the trophy home. Congratulations, Moneymakers, for a job well done. Congratulations, everyone. And thank you all for tuning in and watching this amazing event. We'll see you at the next one. Moneymakers getting the job well done again, with the MVP being none other than Default himself. 41 eliminations with an average damage of 500. That is what you call a nasty, nasty player, with a KD as well of 3.73, though he was averaging at least 3 to 4 eliminations per game. What a player he has turned out to be, and what a team he has been in. But what a ride this has been, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an amazing turnout in this grand final. The action does not stop here. Make sure you follow and stay locked in with me. Thank you all for watching this tournament. It has been a ride. It has been absolutely incredible. Big Baby, we saw them. They turned up, but unfortunately, Incredible Esports just couldn't make something happen. Chaos Syndicate fell way too short, and Moneymakers take the game and take it comfortably. Ritzy Esports, after the fell swoop in today's games, unfortunately for them as well, they slipped up. They did not finish strongly. Same goes for Boris Gaming. Rosavella at least managed to break into the top 8, but unfortunately for them, one for all. Also,
just slipped all the way through. Magma Esports couldn't break back inside. Old school, similar story. Retium Enigma, same with them. 721, Mazor, 715, Sovereign, and True Story just couldn't find their rhythm. But that is the story of competitions like these. It has been an amazing ride. It has been a fun turnout, but it doesn't stop here. So make sure you follow on all social media platforms. We'll stay up to date to give you guys a little bit more action and tell you when the next set of Chaos Syndicate games will be coming through. The MVP race has come to an end. Default finishes strongly with 41, and somehow Havlik, his teammate, actually gets into the conversation as well with 25. 24 for Kramzik, who was the most consistent all through the days. Tupac as well, and Varanik finally making it inside. So three players from Moneymakers shows you how dominant this team was in the tournament. But that is the end of the road, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to everyone who tuned in, and a major shout out to the production team as well. We'll see you guys in the next one.